Hello again, and welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Rural Report. I am your Rural 2IC, and it's been a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and continue our little mini series of It Takes a Village. Now, if this is your first time watching it. You don't have to watch this series in any particular order as we go through, and we're just hitting kind of each role that somebody is probably going to need to fill in a long term SHTF situation and what the responsibilities are going to be to fulfill that role. Now, at the end, I will have little cards over here so that way if you're interested, you can click on that and it'll take you to all of the videos that we have out so far. And you can watch the series of it in its entirety. Now, put out a few so far. We still have quite a few of them to talk about. And so today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the builders, the blacksmiths, and the engineers. Okay. I kind of grouped all these people together because they all kind of go hand in hand. That they're in some sort of creating something or repairing of something, right? And so, if we kind of look into this in a long-term SHTF situation, pretty much every group's going to need these people. Okay, and so like all the other videos, let's go ahead and start off with a definition. And because we've got a couple of different ones, we're going to broad brush stroke this, if you will. And so this category, what we're going to do when we call this, is going to be a person and or group of people that are in charge of designing, building, crafting, or repair and maintenance. Okay, so these are kind of those ones that are the ones that can build something from scratch. They can take raw material and they can build it into a finished product, or they can disassemble, take parts and pieces, and put a working product together, or they are the ones that do repair and maintenance to something. So you already have a finished product, you just need to do a quick fix or do something to maintain it so it continues to run. Now, there is an honorable mention of mechanics in here. Um, we can kind of go into that. Trust me, there's a lot of a long laundry list of different ones that we could throw into this group, but to keep it into what it is. So let's first go into builders. So there's going to be things that's going to be need built, okay, maintained, repaired, all that in a long-term SHTF situation. Now, no matter whether that's peace or the balloon goes up, okay, a skilled builder is going to be one that's going to be able to take some sort of raw material and build it from scratch, okay, whether that is going to be something on the lines of a home, a fence, some sort of structure, a lookout tower, a way to smoke meat, a way to store food and water, things like that. And so it's going to be one of the ones that they're also going to be able to repair anything that's damaged, or give it some sort of maintenance or whatnot. Now, speaking of materials, they should not only be able to craft with that, but they should probably be able to craft raw materials themselves. So, just for an example, if you have somebody that's going to go out and they're going to chop a tree down, the builder probably should have the working knowledge in order to take that tree and produce some sort of lumber, boards, something along those lines. So that way, they can go through and get the job done, or they should be able to have at least some knowledge of being able to scavenge things, or to have that envision and the creativity to look at something. How can I use this right here to disassemble it or repurpose it or something like that in order to kind of scratch something off the list that needs done? So this person or people, they should also not rely solely on power tools to get the job done. Um, Depending on whatever event happens to create the SHTF situation, power tools may not be a viable option. Now, electric over air is going to be preferred if you're going to go after power tools, but depending on how long the situation and your resources, it's probably better to have your generator doing something else than charging some power tools. Uh, But, but, uh, in any case, the people that are going to do building and things like that should probably go ahead and possess some sort of tools, working knowledge, and everything in that field. And they should have tools that are not power tool related. So you could have somebody that is a construction worker, they build houses for a living or whatever, that's going to join the group. If all they have is powered circular saws and pneumatic nail guns and things like that, if they've never swung a hammer or used a manual saw, it's a bit of a learning curve. It's a lot more time consuming and labor intensive, and you have to make sure that they are aware of that. And I know I'll get people on there. Well, it's not hard to swing a hammer. Yeah, but if you haven't swung a hammer over and over and over for hours on end in the last 20 years, you will quickly learn how much that you miss that pneumatic nail gun, right? But let's move on. So let's go to the blacksmith. Now, metalworking is it's a craft, it's an art, right? And it's kind of a dying art. There's many tools that most of the other groups are going to use on a daily basis and that people are very familiar with, but metal's kind of different. Okay, to be able to work and craft in the metal trade is different than that if you're working with lumber or some of the other things. So a skilled blacksmith can fashion a new part or craft an entire new tool or item altogether. So they're the ones that if somebody breaks the hammer handle, okay, well, there's probably a few people that know how to create a new hammer handle. How many of those people can create a new hammer head altogether? Okay, so it's an important thing because you're going to need tools for an SHTF situation. Now, the person slash people in this group should already, again, have tools, and probably be a good idea if they have a working background in this field, not somebody that picked it up off of a couple YouTube videos as a hobby, but they're actually skilled in this. So let's move on to the engineer. And so this person is going to be kind of your design. They're going to be the ones that basically look at something and they're going to be able to see it in their head, maybe put it down on paper, where they can design buildings, fences, dams, equipment, tools, all sorts of other things, right? So they can look at a structure or an item and they can come up with a way to make it better. They can fortify it. They can make it safe. There's a lot of things that they're going to be able to do and work out if they're skilled enough. Now, this and I get this, you can probably make the argument that having an engineer is going to be more of a luxury job that not every group is going to have a need for, and I get it. Your blacksmith, your builder, they could be half engineer. They can look at it and come up with their own plans. I fully get it. But when you're talking about something bigger, maybe that you're going to build a dam or, something along those lines, something that's a little bit more complex, having somebody that knows how to structurally make something other than throwing a few pieces of rotten sheet wood together and, hoping that works. So, it's going to be one of the ones, if you have a smaller group, you're going to want to focus more on the builder and the blacksmith, make sure that they're more skilled than if you can have all three. But I did want to mention engineers because they have an important part if you can be fortunate enough to snag one up. Now, again, in the beginning of this video, I did say that there is the honorable mention of the mechanic, and in my opinion, uh, your mechanic, when everybody kind of thinks about that term, it's somebody that works on a vehicle. And I get it. There's a huge argument to be made. You're going to have people that's going to say, when it comes to a very long term SHTF situation, you're going to need vehicles for transportation, for farm work, for all sorts of things. Even somebody that's going to maintain your generator. And my kind of rebuttal to that, not saying that you're wrong, okay, but my kind of response is that all of those take fuel of some form or fashion, whether that's gasoline, diesel, propane, whatever. And if we're talking 2, 3, 4 year SHTF situation, that fuel is probably going to be better spent in something else than uh, putting it into a Mustang and running up and down the road to scout for things. It's going to be better to ride a bicycle, walk, do different things. I get it. Having a mechanic would be really good. There's a lot of people that are backyard mechanics that can probably fashion together something, get something running, maintain something for a small thing. Because, again, in my opinion, your backyard mechanic that can swap out some brake pads and change the oil is probably good enough. Because if you have some sort of internal engine problem where you need to take off, the whole upper intake and the heads and everything because something threw a rod. You're probably not going to have all the parts, pieces, gaskets, and everything else to properly do that sort of repair anyway. So if again, probably the backyard mechanic will get the job done for a good while anyway, because if something breaks, then it's going to be one of those ones that the backyard mechanic, it's either going to be in their wheelhouse and they're going to be able to get it done in a uh, short amount of time with a little amount of resources and all that, because anything that's going to be a major fix, probably it's just not going to happen. Keep in mind, somebody that can go through and go, hey, the transmission blew up. There's another one over here with a blown motor. We can take the transmission from that and put it in this and make two into one. That's great, but again, do you have all the parts and pieces? Do you have all the fluids necessary to do all that? Do you have the safety equipment to be able to move heavy items? And what happens if a bolt breaks? And there's a ton that goes into it. I don't see vehicles being one of those big things. I would see more, if you were going to have a mechanic, would be the one that works off of your farm tractor if you decide to go that route, or your generator at the very least. So, but let's close up. So, final thoughts on all this is building anything new, maintaining what you have, and repairing the damaged or broken. It's a part of life now, and it's going to be probably even a bigger part of life in an SHTF situation, because the way it is, things seem to break down at the worst possible time now. Uh, think about the worst possible time when the end of the world as we know it. So the people in this category, again, should be very, very skilled. They should have a good working knowledge and a background and what the job and role that they're going to be assigned and try and fill. They should, again, already have all the tools and everything for the job. And most of the time, these are not full-time jobs. So if you have, a situation where you're kind of low on manpower, these can be secondary jobs or jobs filled as kind of an as needed basis, if you will. And so it'll be one of those ones to where, uh, hey, we need a smoker built. Okay, how long is that going to take? Well, to chop a tree down, cut out some boards, and do some other things, it's going to be a 2, 3 day project. Okay. Well, if you get that done and there's nothing else to do, you don't want your blacksmith, your engineer, your builder, your mechanic, you don't want to just sit there and do absolutely nothing. They need other jobs. So if you have a large group, then you can have it to where these people have a part-time job. They do this on a full-time basis because that is more important. If there's nothing to build, maintain, whatever, then they can go help out in other places. But again, it's a lot of cross training. There's a lot of things that people will need help with. There's a lot of ways that you can do apprentice programs and bring people in. You may have 14, 15-year-old kid that SHTF happens. Uh, it'd be a really great thing to bring them up, let them get into there, and so they can learn how to build and how to work with metal and how to work with their hands, because we don't know. An SHTF situation may be a weekend, it may be a week, it may be a month, it may be 10 years. We don't know. And so to bring somebody up in a skilled labor trade is a good thing, right? So but that's what I got for you guys. I was trying to keep the video short. It went a little longer than what I anticipated, but that's okay. We were talking about a lot of people into this. So if you made it to this far in the video, guess what? You rock. I appreciate you so much for spending a little bit of time with me. I hope you have an amazing day. Hope you have a blessed day. And stay tuned because there's more information to come. With that, I want to remind you to always remember, remain united because we're all prepping in this together.